Good evening y bienvenidos to Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices. I'm Hugo Balta, WTTW News Director and your host. On the show tonight, the first presidential debate. Did you watch? I watched and counted that only one time were Hispanics mentioned. Two local reporters share with us what they think Latinos should take away from the political bout.
Chicago is proud to make voting easy, safe, and accessible for everyone.
A one-on-one with Chicago Board Elections Chairwoman Maricel Hernandez on prepping for the many challenges of the 2020 election, and you'll want to hear what she has to say about voter intimidation. COVID-19 is making the persistent problem of sex trafficking in Chicago worse. Dr. Isabel Olson shares how to break the cycle of abuse. I love this story. A teenage mariachi band shares culture and connects to their roots through music. But first, let's start with some of the stories making headlines this week. Early voting in Chicago has officially begun. The voting super site in the Loop opened on Thursday. It's the only early voting location open in the city until October 14th. Then early voting sites will open in all 50 wards. At the super site, residents can vote, register to vote, or turn in mail-in ballots. Amid the coronavirus, election officials are asking residents to vote early to ensure social distancing and avoid overcrowding on Election Day.
This pandemic has added another layer of complexity to the process. We take this very seriously and have ensured that in-person voting is safe and secure for any Chicagoan who wants to vote in person.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Board of Elections says nearly 500,000 people have requested vote-by-mail ballots. The board recommends returning them as soon as possible. And we'll have much more on early voting coming up with Chicago Board of Elections Chairwoman Maricel Hernandez. Trick-or-treating isn't canceled, but it will look different this year. The mayor announced the city's guidelines for Halloween this week. While trick-or-treat isn't banned, the mayor says groups should be smaller than 6. Always keep moving, and everyone should wear masks, including candy givers. However, haunted houses and house parties of any size are not allowed. The city will host pop-up parties dubbed Halloweek during the week leading up to the holiday.
We all know that this holiday means for our kids and adults, especially now, after so much has been taken away over this past year. It's important to me and to parents across Chicago that we give our kids something to look forward to.
The mayor and commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health, Dr. Allison Arwady, dressed up as the Rona Destroyers for the announcement. Now, Chicago's beloved Claudio Velez, a.k.a. the Tamale Guy, is returning home. Velez was released from Rush Hospital on Thursday. This comes after he was placed on a ventilator in critical condition after contracting the coronavirus over the summer. While in the hospital, community members raised more than $56,000 to help pay for his medical bills. Fuerza, Claudio, fuerza. And be sure to head over to our website, WTTW.com/news, for news and information happening right now. Up next, the presidential candidates Donald Trump and Joe Biden said and what they didn't say in this week's debate.
Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices is made possible in part by CIBC.
This week's presidential debate was contentious and chaotic, to say the least. And while topics like COVID-19, healthcare, the economy, and white supremacy were discussed, neither of the candidates directly spoke about how these issues affect the Latino community. Joining us to talk about the debate are Irene Romulo, co-founder and editor of Cicero Independiente news outlet, and Carlos Ballesteros, reporter for Injustice Watch. Irene, it has been extensively reported that COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting Latino communities, yet that context was not included in the line of questions nor the answers on Tuesday night. Was that an omission that should matter to voters?
Definitely. I mean, we can't normalize the amount of mass death that we are experiencing right now. Like, we are losing entire generations of Black and Latinx families and community members, and we need to address the racism that has led to this high number of preventable deaths. And even when people aren't dying, they will have to deal with the consequences, the health implications, the emotional implications of being devastated by this pandemic.
For certainly. Carlos, now you were not impressed by Chris Wallace's performance as moderator. Why is that, and what should the next moderators do differently?
I'll start out by saying that anyone trying to control Donald Trump without being able to turn off his microphone is going to have a hard time. So I understand that. But at the same time, Chris Wallace did not do a good job of pressing the president or Joe Biden on plenty of issues. I think the one that comes to mind the most is when Chris Wallace asked Donald Trump about the New York Times report that found that the president had paid $750 in personal federal income taxes in 2017, 2018. Instead of asking him if that was the right thing to do or if we should fix our tax system so that doesn't happen, Chris Wallace instead asked the president if the reporting was true. And of course, Trump is going to say no. But as a journalist, that's not the question you should be asking, because the reporting proves that it's true. Instead, Chris Wallace let the president go off for 2 minutes about fake news and so on.
Now, one of the things please go ahead.
I was just saying, I hope the next moderator does a better job of pressing the president on those kind of comments. And also, Chris Wallace did not press the president after his comment about the Proud Boys, and that was a huge mistake.
And we'll be touching upon that in a second. One of the other things that was mentioned during that clash was climate change. Irene, why do you believe this is a crucial topic that needs to be addressed with the Latino voters?
Well, Latino voters and communities of color in general globally are the ones that are disproportionately affected by climate change. And a lot of the things that we're seeing, like hurricanes, like droughts, those are things that impulse migration. And that's just at the global level. Even locally, Latino communities are disproportionately affected by the pollutants that are in our community. Communities like La Villita, like Cicero, these are environmental risk factors that are impacting our health, that increase our health disparities, and that have also contributed to the large number of COVID cases in these areas. So the issue of climate change is one that should be front and center in these conversations because they impact so many parts of our lives.
Certainly, it impacts the agricultural community. It impacts the Puerto Rican community, as we've seen, not only with the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, but even in this year with the hurricane season being so busy in comparison to other years. Now, probably to the most talked about moment in the debate was this exchange.
Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
white
supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Carlos, we only got 30 seconds left. What does the president's comments say to Latino voters who've been the focus of increasing hate crimes during the Trump presidency?
I think the comments, there's a saying, cuando alguien te dice quién es, creerlos, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. I think this is the latest example of Trump showing us who he is. There are plenty of examples, whether it's his immigration policies, who his immigration legal advisor is, Stephen Miller. All these people in his administration and their actions, their policies have been coddling and supporting white supremacy for the last 4 years. And it shouldn't have been as big as a surprise, I guess, to most of us, given his track record, but it's still very concerning. And it shows that he is not interested in tackling white supremacy in this country.
Well, we've got 2 more debates left as far as the president's, and the Commission on the Presidential Debates are promising a better format in order for voters to get a better understanding about the different policies that each candidate is proposing to the voters. And of course, we hope to hear and learn more about their ideas specific to the Latino community. Many thanks to Irene. Many thanks to you, Carlos, as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for an inside look at the effort to get out the Latino vote in this year's election, be sure to tune in to WTTW this Tuesday at 9 o'clock evening to watch the documentary Latino Vote Dispatches from the Battleground. Meanwhile, setting Chicagoans up for a safe and secure election is a tall order in any year, especially one beset by the pandemic, post office woes, and concerns of voter intimidation. But the Chicago Board of Elections says they're up for the challenge. Here to talk about how Chicago is prepping for this historic vote is Chicago Board of Elections Chairwoman Maricel Hernandez. Maricel, welcome.
Thank you.
Maricel, it's getting close to Election Day, but Illinoisans still have time to register to vote online and in person. What do people need to do in order to be able to vote?
Well, any resident of Chicago who's a U.S. citizen and who will turn 18 by November 3rd can register to vote and vote today. They can register online. They could register at one of our early voting sites, and they could register on Election Day. Our early voting site at the Loop, 191 North Clark, is open and running. The other 50 early voting sites will be open as of October the 14th, where you could register to vote and vote right there. You will also be able to register and vote on Election Day. And of course, we encourage everyone to vote by mail. It's safe, convenient, and if you have any health condition, it is the best way to vote.
Chairwoman Hernandez, many of the voters in the Latino community are bilingual or Spanish dominant. Can you share some resources in regards to Spanish-speaking voters? Actually,
our entire website is in Spanish. All the voter needs to do is go to eleccioneschicago.com, and they will find every resource available and be able to register to vote on the site.
Chairwoman Hernandez, let's talk about some of the concerns expressed by the governor around intimidating voters on Election Day. Here's a quote from Governor Pritzker: "Those who try to disrupt the vote, they will be held accountable for their actions, and we will not let them interfere with voting on Election Day." What is the BOE doing to prevent vote suppression and intimidation?
Well, as you know, there's a lot of false information and rumors going around. We encourage voters to log on to our website, where we have a wealth of information, and they will be able to find whatever they're looking for. If not, they're free to call us at 312-269-7900, and we will answer any of their questions. But more importantly, I want voters to know that the board regularly meets with the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, Chicago Police Department, and other governmental entities to prepare for this election period, including Election Day. And on Election Day, we will have all of these agencies assisting us, along with community organizations and attorneys who will monitor polling places. So we feel confident that we have the security in place for voters to come out and safely vote.
Chairwoman, one last question around safety around health. Can you share with us what the BOE is doing to protect in-person voters and poll workers from COVID?
Absolutely. For poll workers and voters alike, we will have masks, gloves, sanitizing gel. We will have plexiglass dividing the voter from the worker for each of their protection. And we have training in place for the poll workers. We are following CDC and Illinois Department of Health guidelines. So we feel very confident that we have all the protocols and procedures in place so that voters can come and vote safely.
Chairwoman Maricel Hernandez, thank you so much for your time and your insights.
Thank you.
Up next, Dr. Isabel Olsen on how human traffickers are preying on COVID-19 victims. But first, Hispanic, Latino, what's in a name? COVID-19 has shed great light on the many inequities facing vulnerable communities, among them human trafficking that has seen an increase of 40% since the pandemic began, according to the anti-trafficking group Polaris. In Chicago, the immigrant community is an especially attractive target for labor and sex trafficking. Joining us to talk about this quiet and persistent crisis is Dr. Isabel Olson, founder and CEO of the Salt and Light Coalition, a not-profit organization that supports survivors of sex trafficking. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Isabel.
Thank you, Hugo, for having me.
Now, human trafficking involves the use of fraud, force, or some other kind of coercion to obtain labor or commercial sex. Give us some examples of the vulnerability of the people who are being trafficked, especially in times of crisis like COVID-19.
Of course. So traffickers are looking for vulnerabilities. That could be financial instability, a lack of a support system, an unstable household, an emotional instability, or even mental health issues. So during these times like COVID-19, people get extremely vulnerable because of the instability.
Now, trafficking primarily affects women and girls, 50% in the United States, most of them women of color, 30% of them are Latinas. This is an issue that falls particularly hard on immigrants or other marginalized communities. Why is that?
Because those communities are facing those vulnerabilities. There's a lot of financial instability. Maybe the mother and father may be working a lot, so they're not at home paying attention to what's going on with their children because they are so overwhelmed with work. So those instabilities, that lack of support, is what's going to create that vulnerability for that child or for that person.
Now, when we talk about trafficking, usually it conjures up images of women and girls. Certainly, they're the largest portion of the victims. Mm-hmm. But men and boys are also trafficked, 30% of them in sex trafficking. Tell us more about the challenges they face, including in labor trafficking.
I think they face a lot of challenges because people are expecting girls to be trafficked, right? So 70% of those victims are women. So they might not expect, for example, a boy to be sex trafficked. So it is harder for them to be identified. It's harder for them to get help. And there is less help available for those boys and men that are being victimized.
The problem of trafficking is rampant in the United States, but what about Chicago? How big of a problem is human trafficking here?
It's a huge problem. Even though we're not aware of it, 25,000 women are trafficked in Chicago every year. Just to put that into perspective, Hugo, that's 2 women every hour of every day. So it's a huge issue, and it's happening in the west side especially and in the south sides of our city. And it is sad, and it's persistent, and it is like an epidemic in our own backyard.
16,000 to 25,000 women that are being trafficked. Your organization is helping those women. We have a clip of one of the women Melinda McMichael, who went through the program. Let's take a look.
Through Salt and Light, I was able to take a look at me and figure out who I was, because I had no idea. You know, I was so angry. I wanted so many things for myself. I just didn't know how to get there.
Storm of emotions. How does Salt and Light Coalition support survivors?
So we provide a 1-year-long workforce development program that focuses on body and mind restoration. So what happens to people that are trafficked is that 62% of them are trafficked before the age of 18. What happens then is that they never finish their schooling, they don't develop a work history. And so even when you get out of that trafficking situation, when you try to land a legitimate job, it is very, very challenging if you don't have schooling and if you don't have a work history. So we fill that gap by providing the education, by providing body-mind restoration to heal them from trauma. And then we place them in our partners to start a new life with a job. So that's basically what we do. We do it over 1 year, and it's very rewarding to be working with this population.
Can you tell us, what might be the signs that someone is or has been trafficked? How can we get them help?
So some of the signs, for example, if your child has an older boyfriend that you cannot meet, maybe your child is coming home with expensive items that they cannot afford. Maybe it's shoes, clothing, their nails are done all of the time. You are not giving them money. They don't have a job. Maybe they have an iPhone that they couldn't afford, a fake ID that they cannot explain. Sometimes they'll have tattoos that they cannot explain to you. They'll be gone days at a time, or they'll dress inappropriately for their age. And just to be clear, one of these signs does not mean that it is per se a trafficking situation. You need a totality of the signs. And then if that is the case with your child, call the human trafficking hotline, 1-888-373-7888, and have a frank conversation with that person or with that child. What you can do is really be there for them and be understanding and loving and support them. That's what every survivor tells me that they wish their parent had done.
Communication is key in talking to our daughters and our sons. Many thanks to you, Dr. Isabel Olson. Thank you for your time and your insights.
Thank you.
Up next, meet a mariachi group that recorded an album during the pandemic. But first, to Brandis Friedman and a look at what's on tap for tomorrow.
A full show tomorrow, Ugo. We'll hear from some folks who may be a rarity in Chicago, Black voters who support President Trump, the importance of colon cancer screenings in the Black community, and South Shore neighbors paint their community as they'd like to see it. Join us tomorrow at 6 for Chicago Tonight, Black Voices.
Now, before we let you go, how about a little music? A talented band of Chicago teenagers say they're trying to bring back music they earned and learned from their family. Arts producer Mark Vitale recently met with Mariachi Herencia on a rooftop in Pilsen. Here's another look.
3, 4.
Mariachi music is something that we learned and earned from our ancestors, our grandparents, our parents, something that we are trying to bring back.
Mariachi consists of pride for Mexico. We are trying to connect to our roots. We are playing this wonderful, beautiful musical tradition from Mexico, and really what we're doing is that we are sharing this beautiful culture with the world.
We met just a small portion of the group, which has 18 members, and music transforms every one of them.
It showed me how to be a team player. It showed me a different side of myself.
Most band members went through Chicago Public Schools' Mariachi Heritage Program, which we featured on Chicago Tonight in 2016.
Más corto, más corto.
Mariachi Herencia made their new recording with remote assistance from an elder mariachi master quarantined in Mexico City.
Unfortunately, Don Rigoberto Alfaro, which is our arrangement composer as well as our musical director, was unable to come because of the circumstances that are happening right now as we speak, and we had a challenge. So I was given the amazing opportunity to musically guide my compañeros to get this album done and send it out to the world for everyone's enjoyment.
The clothing they wear is very much part of the tradition.
It is like a way we show our pride towards what we play, which is mariachi music.
It's the image of mariachi, really. This is what defines, like, the look of it.
Their family members definitely approve.
They're very proud of me because they see that I'm one of the only women in my family that was able to do this, and they see me as like someone that can be something in the world.
It's a wonderful feeling, really, to get kids and people from our generation to enjoy what is this beautiful genre of mariachi music. And not only that, but to also appeal to our parents' and grandparents' generations as people who come from Mexico and people who come from hard times, but also kept this beautiful tradition and this beautiful genre of music with them as they came to the United States.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Mark Vitale.
They look good, they sound good. The new album from Mariachi Herencia is called Esencia Volume 2. And that's our show. Be sure to check out our website, wttw.com/news, for the very latest from WTTW News, including a gem from Pat Lee Wetley on Fat Bear Week. And join Brandis Friedman tomorrow night for Chicago Tonight, Black Voices. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices, I'm Hugo Balta. Thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. Stay healthy, stay safe. Muy buenas noches.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm that is proud of their attorneys selected for the 2020 Illinois Super Lawyers List.